I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Michele Thompkins. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm excellent, my friend. It's a great pleasure to connect with you. Tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in the good old USA, Houston, Texas.
All right. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Oh, my goodness. A podcast, I think, was what made the connection.
Yeah. Podcaster, family podcaster. Tell us about your podcast, please.
The podcast consists of my sister and myself, and we call the show the Gossip and Heifers Show. And most of the time when we share that name with people laugh, and that's the response we want because that's what we want you to do on our podcast. We want to keep our audience in sync with our, unique sense of humor, along with trending articles that we have on dating, news, headlines, celebrity gossip.
All right. Now, you've been doing this for quite a while, right? Like, I listened to your last podcast episode. Who did you initially learn the skill from, the interviewing skill or even the show skill?
Well, actually, that was all self-taught. Thank God for the internet. It was actually a passion that pushed the podcast to come alive because I've always thought my sister and I ought to have our own show. And with podcasting being a platform, that was something we took advantage of and just kind of pieced it together little by little. We're still evolving, but I think the show has actually gotten better, and thanks to YouTube for the tutorials.
Yeah, YouTube tutorials definitely have changed the world, haven't they?
They definitely have, because you can imagine people who want to do this type of skill can actually go online and learn. You can definitely go to school. I never, try to discourage anybody from doing that, but if you are of, means that you want to learn right away, you definitely have the knowledge at your fingertips.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, there are haters and there are challenges that do occur. Why would you continue to repeat the skill of podcasting?
It's a passion. It gives us a platform to voice our opinion. And, we consider ourselves, the good home girls you can have a good conversation with and a couple laughs with. And we want to bring that to the show because there's a lot of people out there that want to have these conversations but just can't find a platform to find a way that is said the way we make it, our statements.
All right. And what's one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Oh, well, beside podcasting, it's production, also working in film production, as well as social media marketing. That's our niche on how we gain the audience that we have gained so far and still continuously to grow. Is social media marketing is a big marketing tool that I took advantage of to build our platform and our brand.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, I feel very well achieved. Sometimes I can underestimate myself, but with it being a daily planting of seeds, I just believe there's never a day that go by I cannot take advantage of social media, and I should put something out there affiliated with our brand, whether it be a joke, a meme, a video, just something linked to the brand every day is good for folks to see.
Suggest to someone out there, someone that may be thinking about starting their podcast, why they should do what you've done and definitely stick through.
Well, first find out what you love to talk about. You cannot start a podcast because you're trying to fit a niche. You definitely have to find something you're very passionate to talk about, whether it be business, consulting, it could be tips on, how to buy a home, anything. And make sure you're going to be committed to it. Make sure you have at least, I would like to say, one episode a week, because audiences that follow podcasts are very loyal customers. They're very loyal audience members, and they definitely download and stream. So they want to have consistent content from you. And make it fun. Just don't make it like it's a chore. You really want to make it fun. You may actually want to bring a co-host on. That's what makes our podcast so easy, because my sister and I bounce off each other very well because we've been raised with each other and we know each other so well. So our conversations have a natural flow. So that might be another niche you may want to consider for a podcast.
And just to call out your sister, Rochelle, right?
That is Rochelle, a.k.a. Rocky. That's a nickname. That's a nickname I gave her when I was young and couldn't pronounce her name. But she is my younger sister, and she is definitely the heart of the humor on our show. as well as very blunt conversation. Sometimes, and that's one thing I think that we level each other out because I try to be in a certain zone and she stays in a certain zone, and she doesn't really care about. I mean, not to disregard anybody's feelings, but she's very blunt spoken. She's not going to bite her tongue how she feels about anything, regardless. And I think that what brings the unique dynamic to the show.
Well, amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Michele Thompkins. Again, she is the co-host of Gossiping Heifers show. Definitely check that out. Amazing conversations going on there. Michele, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Michele, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, the earliest childhood memory I have is when I went to a movie with my father. It was Robin Hood, Walt Disney's Robin Hood. And for some reason, that's one of the main childhood memories that stick out to me because that was back in the day when movie theaters sold merchandise and had all the posters and everything. So they had the Robin Hood bow and arrow, and I got sick as a dog that night too because I overdid it with the candy. But it's still one of my fondest childhood memories.
Wow, how old do you think you were?
Oh, I had to be I want to say maybe 4 or 5.
All right. Why do you think this memory is so clear?
It's so clear to me because I was amused by the presentation, and of course, spending time with my dad. But just walking into a grand movie theater and seeing all the displays, the merchandise, they just made it a real adventure before you got to see the film. And then after you saw the film, it just made all that build up so much better.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Oh, definitely Spotlight. Because it is, I've always been amazed with entertainment. I've always been amazed with comedy. And I think I've never really just wanted to be in the spotlight just to say I'm in the spotlight. But I know that if we had a moment to have a spotlight shined on us, there would be an audience for us to listen and we can all enjoy great conversation. So I've just always saw that memory kind of connecting with what I do today.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
And that is?
I love the idea of the justice, the Robin Hood that you seem to be, and your sister, in terms of you guys bring the value to the people.
That's a good way to put it. And you know what? That's an awesome way to put that because I've never really put it in that light. But yeah, Robin Hood stood for the people, the little man. And, of course, we're always on our show talking down anybody who just disregards any human being just because they have a better status in life.
There we go. If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh, my goodness. It had to be Michael Jackson or Prince related. I was a Michael Jackson, Prince junkie. Definitely. Now, I might be off, but I want to say Michael Jackson's Thriller because my dad worked in the industry and that was one of his main projects that he helped promote for radio airplay. Right. And I was already a Michael Jackson fan before he had that opportunity. And that time era, the fashion, and of course, going to school and having those life lessons, that's what I flash back to.
All right. Well, my friend, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Michele?
I'm ready.
Michele, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, more than 8.
If you, Michele, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Michele Thompkins, what would you say that is?
Regardless on what people think of your passion, do it anyway.
Love it. Michele, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would just like to thank you for the opportunity of talking to you and your platform, and hopefully your audience didn't get bored with the conversation. And I appreciate everybody. If you guys would like to check out our show, our website is gossipingheifers.com, or you could just Google us and you will find us on several different podcast platforms.
Love it. Michele Thompkins, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.